暁は集った。
If you whisper my name, we will appear. The Unfiltered Truth After Dark show is here. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Phil Robinson. With me today on the After Dark show is my man Johnny Pham. Johnny, how you doing today, boss?
Hey, I'm doing all right, Phil. What's going on with everybody?
Hey man, it's week 2 of free agency for the Las Vegas Raiders, and they didn't quite top week 1, but they didn't really need to. But the ripple effect was probably one of the most interesting things that happened in week 2. And a lot was made about what Davante Adams got paid, what they gave up. But then seeing what he got paid inspired Tyreek Hill to think about himself. And in doing so, he inked himself. He talked his way out of Kansas City and got himself a nice little hefty paycheck out in Miami. Went home, got paid, and now the Chiefs are in a position looking more vulnerable than they have in years.
That's true. My
But that
problem. Go ahead.
I was going to say, but that doesn't necessarily mean that just because they look vulnerable, they are defeated. They are also armed with 12 picks in this draft and pretty much the ability to trade up and get whomever they want, whenever they want, repeatedly.
True.
Uh, there's some things that we can get into in terms of trying to replace Tyreek Hill, some strategy things, some personnel things, but it definitely raises an interesting question as to just who is the dominant team in this division, and why is it not Kansas City?
Why is it not Kansas City right now? Everybody's going to be pointing at the Tyreek Hill trade to the Dolphins as the main focal point for them being weaker.
Mm-hmm.
And meanwhile, the Raider fans everywhere could point at Chandler Jones coming over. We can also point out that they traded for Davante Adams, which is, Derek Carr's best friend on and off the field. Max Crosby inked his deal and everything else. So, I mean, everything looks good in favor for the Raiders right now. And they also beat the Chargers this past season to make it to the playoffs. They didn't have to settle with a tiebreaker. They beat them and was able to get in. And they did all this 10 wins for the year without Chandler Jones, without Davante Adams, without any of those guys that we brought in for this season. So I understand that every Raider fan could say, hey, it's our time. This is our year. But then I could point back at Kansas City and all the past success they've had, whether it was in the draft, free agency, whatever with Andy Reid, and talk about how all these picks, Andy could find some suitable replacements for Tyreek Hill, replace them, and still be a big problem to the Raiders in the AFC West.
And this definitely something to think about, because like I said, we all got caught up in the moment with the trade for Davante Adams, because having the legit best wide receiver in football is a big deal.
Yeah.
And it had quite the ripple effect and shifted the balance of power throughout the division. But as you said, there's a plan in place. And I go back and I watched a couple of games that the Chiefs had, specifically the ones that they had against the Giants. And Patrick Graham had a great defensive system for them, and really limited them and gave Patrick Mahomes fits. But what stood out to me was just how much they feed Tyreek Hill.
Yes.
And he was the backbone of their offense. without a shadow of a doubt. And I looked at the way that they were using Mecole Hardman, and they can use him in very much that similar fashion. They have enough draft picks to go get a Christian Watson, a Calvin Austin, Velus Jones Jr., or any variant any variant of wide receivers that are available.
True.
It remains to be seen what exactly it is they're going to do, but they've shown an ability to develop their talent and put their talent in places to succeed. And with Josh Gordon and Juju, you're now looking at bigger receivers versus the skinnier guys that they had and have previously gotten rid of.
Yeah.
And with the addition of Ronald Jones, it really looks like they're putting an emphasis on going bigger and trying to wear down defenses instead of trying to hit them faster. And there, you've seen that with the Raiders. You've seen that with the Chiefs now. I expect that there will be some more counters to that as well. You'll see Denver do something, and you'll also see the Chargers start moving in that direction as well. Because the key to beating these defenses now is no longer going to be speed. Everybody seems to be arming themselves against that particular aspect. So running the ball is going to go back to being at a premium.
Yeah. Yeah, I can agree with that.
An underrated great player, if that makes sense. It does. Said we got better on multiple levels and they got worse, period. Absolutely. As of now, I had tweeted this early and this late list has been updated since, but the Raiders have signed Rock Yassin through the trade with Yannick Ngakoue. They signed Devontae Adams through a trade, signed Chandler Jones, Brandon Bolden, Darius Phillips, Bilal Nichols, Anthony Averett, Mac Hollins, Alex Bars, Jacob Hollister, Kyler Fackrell, Jermaine Illuminor, Brandon Parker, Micah Kaiser, Jacob Johnson, Amir Abdullah, Garrett Gilbert, Demarcus Robinson, Kyle Peko, Vernon Butler, Daron Harmon, and Jayon Brown. And I think they signed somebody else after that, Jayon Brown as well, but I'm not remembering who off the top of my head. That's 24 guys that they've brought in, and the roster, you can only have 53 on a roster. They've built on top of this existing foundation in such a way that it's been marvelous.
They're trying to fortify it with depth.
Absolutely. And going about it the absolute right way. And it looks like they're going to try to swing and draft some home run talent and do it the New England way and draft later in the draft.
Bingo.
Rather than get caught up with battling for everybody, whom everybody thinks is the number one top talent. And Chip Kelly and Ziegler are going to put their heads together along with McDaniels and come up with some guys that we've never even heard of that are going to be some freakish, monstrous athletes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot to be excited about for this season, for the Raiders right now. They did a lot. They exceeded expectations out of me from this whole free agency period. I didn't expect them to do the things that they did because, for the most part, for a long time, I can't even recall when they made such a splash this impactful for the entire organization. So I can't even recall.
No, honestly, the last time they made a lot of splashes, it was for all the wrong reasons, and it were more like some thuds and some rocks sinking into the ocean. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah,
this is a different regime, an actual front office, a championship level front office when you look at organizational structures and the way that this front office has operated, it's been like the Raiders coming into the 22nd century, not skipping the 21st, just coming all the way back from trying to do things the way they did them back in the 60s to how they do things moving forward and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
The method has been tried and true and perfected, and all of the guys that are in positions to make this happen have been in it for decades. And so I really like what we're brewing here. And what I think needs to be remembered is that Patrick Graham had an incredible amount of success against everybody in our division, including us.
Yeah.
Josh McDaniels has beaten everybody in this league. Everybody in this conference, everybody in this league, everybody in this division. There's very little chance that anything that any of these teams do is going to be anything new to him that he hasn't seen before. Maybe wrapped up and packaged a little differently with the extra coating of window dressing, but it's going to be the same shit.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I really like where we were at, because I felt like we were where we were supposed to be in terms of playoff seedings and the way that we were playing coming down the stretch. But I felt like there was more that could have been done with what they had than what they actually did.
Yeah.
What's up, Holly? Calculative moves. Absolutely. Big difference in years past. But one of the main things that Raider fans have to come into grips with is that these guys are used to winning. We are not. We haven't seen winning. We saw one playoff season 6 years ago and haven't seen another one since early 2000.
Yeah.
These guys have consistently won since the last time we saw winning every single year. There's only been 2 years, two seasons, and what, a 22-year stretch where they did not win the AFC East. The Patriots.
Yeah.
Just solid consistency. And that's what we need to get back to seeing. And that's because of how they constructed their roster, kept the element of competition always coming through, and continued to bolster the ranks, not overpay guys, and let them price themselves out of town.
Yes, sir. Exactly what happened.
I like the chances to win the division, Ace, to be honest with you. I think it really, really is up for grabs, and more than it's ever been. The Chiefs still, obviously, they have Mahomes, but the bell is ringing on that contract, and it was a great idea to pay Patrick Mahomes all that money, because you were still on the rookie deal for a couple more years, and you could still get a couple more years out of everybody, the rest of your premium talent, before you had to break it all down because of the salary cap and start over again, or start with selected pieces. But it looks like that hit a little early.
Yeah, Kansas City benefited from giving Mahomes his deal a few years early. Imagine if he didn't get that deal and Mahomes just tore it up all the way through. You know how much coin he would have demanded, at the correct time of signing? It would have been absurd. What he would have been paid would totally been absurd.
60, 70 million?
Somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah, somewhere in that neighborhood, which would have just been like, this is ridiculous.
But back to what Ace was asking about winning the division. I mean, it's possible. At the end of the day, and I'm going to say this like I've said the last 2 years, it's all going to ride on Derek's arm at the end of the day. That's just how I feel about it. So I feel a lot more comfortable and actually trust Derek a little bit more now, because he's been reunited with his boy Devontae Adams. So right. I think that's going to go hand in hand. It's going to help them both. So I think Derek will be fine. I don't think he's going to come out and put up all these ungodly stats that you've never seen before. but I do think it's going to be a significant increase in production. That's just how I see it right now. I think there'll be more touchdowns this time around, maybe a little more yardage and less interceptions. Hopefully, he could chill out on the fumbles. But other than that, I think Derek will be fine.
So let me ask you a question, because I value your opinion, especially when it comes down to football as well. Nerf hacks, good pieces, good depth, good decision making. Now we look for good coaching, which I believe they have, and good play calling to bring it full circle. And I honestly can't wait.
Yes.
The Raiders have yet to satisfy my desire for defensive tackle, but we'll save that for a couple minutes. This offensive line, what are your opinions of it? Because I've had various conversations with different people about what exactly is going on with this O-line and who's to blame, what's to blame with how they looked versus how they really actually performed.
Okay. This is a little bit of a slippery slope for me, but this is how I feel about the offensive line, right? At times, I think the offensive line struggled with pass protection. At times, I wouldn't say it was nowhere near the level of what was going on with Joe Burrow behind that Cincinnati offensive line. All right. There's been plenty of times to where I've seen Derek Carr had plenty of time to throw the ball and everything else. The whole blame game, there's receivers getting blamed for Derek Carr's faults. The offensive line was easy to blame for what was going on with Derek Carr and everything else. But at the end of the day, just watching the games, going back, watching film, and you could see what Derek's doing. And Derek's making some mistakes that he has no business making. He's been in the league for a long time right now, and he's still making those same corny mistakes that he's been known to make over the years. And you're a veteran quarterback. You're supposed to be the undisputed leader of the team. So how I see it is he's got to just get better with some of his decision making. But we've been stressing this out for the last, I don't know how many years. I could assure you that Derek Carr has had significant protection, even with the offensive line being banged up. He's had significant protection. He's had the time to throw and everything else. All the stat companies out there that's been tracking it, he's had more time to throw than Justin Herbert, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, and at least 6-7 other top 10 quarterbacks in the statistical category for your passing and everything else. He's had more time to throw than everybody else. Now, you can argue about the receivers. That's fine. But, if Carr's not hitting them, I mean, what are you going to do? What are you going to blame? Who are you going to blame? Especially if Carr, for example, throws it in a triple coverage at the end of the game, final play against Cincinnati. I mean, who are you going to blame for that? Are you going to blame the offensive line for that play?
It's all their fault.
You can't. You could talk about the play call you want. The way I saw that last play, by the way, when I was at the stadium watching the game, I felt like that maybe Derek Carr could have did a quick little pump fake, maybe, and he could have got Eli to freeze up, Eli Apple, because actually Eli Apple was in space and he was actually watching over Darren Waller. I think possibly if he could have hit the pump fake, then maybe Eli could have bit, and then Waller could have got some separation at the very end and got into the end zone untouched, no problem, got the touchdown. But, I'm just throwing a quick hypothetical out there. What I felt like could have happened if Carr would have pump faked on that final play.
When the bullets are flying, it's hard to make that statement. We saw it from the safe spot of the couch with the benefit of watching the tape. But your quarterback has got to be able to see Darren Waller open on the sideline. You want him to be able to see that. My issue was always his locking on receivers, and there have been conversations about why that is. A lot of people have said he's going through his progressions. You've got the targeted, the intended receiver, who they were going to for the play design. There's been a lot of chatter, a lot of reasonable excuses, let's call it. So where it makes enough sense to be a reason, but at the same time, still an excuse for it not getting done. I look forward to seeing what's going on with a real, actual modern NFL play caller, with an elite NFL modern play caller. Said Gruden had his moments. He also had large periods of time where he disappeared and looked inept, completely out of his league. So the coach, I saw Farrell put down, the coaching staff really makes a difference here. And it's one that we could sit here and continue to just hype up. But like you, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. I'd like to see it. I believe that it should happen. I have full expectations that it will.
Yeah.
But it still has to happen.
Yeah. And on the flip side of things too, we was discussing the coaches and everything else. What's Josh McDaniel's record against Spagnuolo right now? Because I know Spagnuolo was on the other side of the spectrum when the Patriots lost those 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, he was playing. He was DC in New York.
Yeah.
I don't know what his record against him is off the top of my head. I'd have to go to pull that up with Pro Football Reference, and I'm not in the proper frame of mind for that. Keep it a buck.
We all know the red zone woes. Do we think Adams changes Carr's tendencies? No, it doesn't.
It makes it worse.
It's gonna make Carr really really push the limit in terms of targeting Devontae. Devontae's probably gonna see close to 200 targets for the year or something crazy like that. Watch.
I set the over under at 180. And a lot of people thought I was crazy till they looked at it. It's like, remember, Derek threw 626 times last year. 180 is not that much. A third of your targets going to his absolute best friend, the guy who made him a pro.
Yeah.
I was like, if you thought Derek was over here throwing no look YOLO passes before, you ain't seen nothing yet. Said he.
Yeah, he's gonna get to a whole nother level. I'm trying to tell you, he's gonna he's gonna get a shitload of targets. Devontae is. I have no doubt about that. I have no doubts.
Yeah, so that's why I was like 180. I was like, well, he got 169 in Green Bay and then 163 or something like that. Initially, I thought that Hunter would be the focus of this offense, and I still believe that he should be, especially given all of the added weapons. He's going to be the easiest to lose track of. Bryan Edwards also needs to step it up. He's going to have to battle with Mac Hollins, and we're going to see who wants to be the other receiver opposite of Devontae Adams. I believe in Bryan Edwards. I just know that he needs to run routes that are more complementary to his skill set than trying to be the guy that's burning everybody at 6'3", 220. He's not that. He don't have that type of speed.
Yeah. No, I understand where you're coming from with that. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, and to answer the question on the board, which I've left on here forever, the red zone we were talking about that. It's good. McDaniel's offense with a rookie was 7th in the red zone. There with the height, the size of the receivers that he has, it's absolutely inexcusable that he can't get a ball thrown up to one of these trees that he got for them to come down with in the end zone. You just can't. You can't. I won't listen to any argument you have for that, because it'd be wrong. So you got a 6'6" tight end, a 6'4" tight end, Hollister 6'2", 6'3", Brian Edwards is 6'3". Devontae Adams is 6'1", and Moss is fools. Mac Hollins is 6'4", almost 6'5". I'm like, there's no reason the height advantage alone and reach is a guaranteed touchdown.
Yeah. We're all gonna find out what's going on this year. I mean, I trust McDaniels and everything. You know, I trust Mick Lombardi and them to run this offense, right? I do. But the one thing that remains true in the root of all this is at the end of the day, the Raiders have always had red zone issues with Derek Carr as a quarterback, no matter who the head coach was. There was only 1 year to where the Raiders were top dogs in the red zone, and that was Carr's rookie year.
Yes, it was. And that was before the league basically had the book on him and the ability to get into his coverages, which leads me to believe that he's setting audibles and not changing them. Because the way the defenses is keying on his audibles and completely just baiting him into doing things seems that they have some insider knowledge of exactly what it is that he's going to do. And if you show him one look, what he's going to do to check out of it and switch to beat it.
Yeah.
And they're baiting him, and that needs to stop. But I don't believe that Josh McDaniels is going to let him do that. And so I'll say this. No coach is going to hamstring a quarterback like Derek Carr right off the rip. He's going to give him the opportunity to go out and see what he's got, see what he can do, see how he picks it up, see how he interprets it. Because on a chalkboard, Derek Carr is a football genius. So when on the field, when the bullets start flying, if you show somebody from the opposite jersey running up on him, he gets happy feet. His ability to read the defense isn't as sharp as it could be.
Yeah. And that's what happens when you get people up in your face. You know, you're trying to speed up that thought process, and you kind of, have a roadblock in your head about what's going on.
It happens. It happens. So DeMarcus Robinson, I expect DeMarcus Robinson to be he'll be another sleeper. I really expect a large part of this offense to go into the spread. Now, when we saw Derek Carr tearing it up last season, it was because he was early in the year, especially. It was because he was in the gun. They were spreading everybody out, and he was just doing his thing. He was finding the open receivers. The defenses weren't able to hide what they were doing from him, and he was making the right decisions and offloading the football. And even still, there were times where he missed wide open receivers who could have scored. I remember because I was sitting right there at the back of the end zone when I watched him miss Henry Ruggs on the third play of the season, streaking across the field open as all day.
Yeah.
But with DeMarcus Robinson, his speed, his savvy for running seams and getting open and adversary in the fray of zones is going to help him out a lot. There's we've said it for the last couple of years that there's no excuses. Somebody at this point, somebody will find one, manufacture a few by the end of the year. I can count on it. I can count on it. But right now, as it stands, he has every single weapon he needs. You've said the same thing that I thought to be true, was that the offensive line, while it was not perfect, definitely was better than most of the offensive lines in this league. The run game is going to get sharpened up by sticking with the gap system, the gap blocking system, instead of trying to run that trash ass zone that never ever seems to work with the Raiders for any extended period of time. It's always, oh, well, we're going to run a mix and we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But every time they run the zone blocking scheme, they struggle through different regimes, different coaching staffs, different offensive philosophies. Whenever you go to the zone running scheme, it does not work.
Yeah. You need those offensive linemen, man, for that said system. They got to be a little smaller, quicker on their feet and everything. They got to be ballerinas out there on the field if you want this zone blocking system to work.
Now, looking at, so it's funny that you mentioned that. So a lot of people want them to go out and draft a offensive lineman. And looking at these offensive linemen are much, much different looking than they have been in years past. These are some big fit guys. Some very let's word this correctly. Muscular individuals, and without a lot of fat, if any, and are all capable of running and getting out in space. And that's more of what you want from zone offensive linemen, guys who are capable of moving, getting out in space, laying a block, opening some gaps and cutbacks. But the Raiders prefer, with their running backs, with the way that their offensive line is built, they're built to come downhill and lean on guys. And that's what McDaniels and Carmen Brasillo are going to have them do.
Excuse me. Yeah, that's the right play right there. That's the right play. You don't take offensive linemen and have them play in a system that doesn't work. For their attributes and everything else. It's not tailor made for them.
Not at all. Gap man backer has been around forever for a reason, tried and true. And as much as I liked Alec Gingold, and I did when I first saw him at training camp, I was like, this is a guy that needs to be a fullback. I like him. I love him. He can do a whole bunch of stuff for you. He had some good years. Said I'd like to say that I'll miss him, but Jacob Johnson is a freaking beast. That dude is a monster. And looking at him when that 265 coming singled up on one of these 230-pound linebackers, one of these 226-pound linebackers, that man is clearing the hole. And for a guy, for Josh Jacobs, who's had problems finding the hole, it'll be real easy for him to just follow Jacob Johnson through the hole and squirt out on the other side. I really, really like what I think that you're going to get from Kenyon Drake if he comes back healthy. The leg/ankle is good, and he's able to continue to be explosive. He will get off this season if he's good to go.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Red zone TD percentage 2017 Raiders were top 10, 2016 top 13, 2015 top 10, 2014 they were first, in 2018 they were 22 when Gruden arrived.
2016 top 13. I wouldn't even say top 13. So they was basically middle of the pack.
It's still top 16, so that would be upper middle, I guess.
That's still middle of the pack for them. In my opinion, still not good enough. It was amazing they was able to win 12 games in 2016. But man, 2016 was a heart attack waiting to happen season.
Yeah, we give that 2016 defense a load of shit, but they were the second most they had the second highest turnovers in the league that year.
Yep.
That's how they did it on defense. It wasn't through statistics. That was Ken Norton's defense with Jack Del Rio, all hands all over it.
Yep. And then you had Khalil Mack winning Defensive Player of the Year. Yep.
Yeah, the new fullback is a grown ass man, and I can't wait to see him just body up these undersized linebackers and grind out football games old school way. Gruden struggled, Olsen struggled, whoever it is that was down there struggled. Downing struggled. It's gotten collectively worse. What you saw primarily for the success this year has been Josh Jacobs the Rock from 5 to 10 yards out and letting him score some easy work touchdowns. Now, I'm not necessarily going to call it easy work because those are some tough yards to get. But if all you got is 5 to go, I expect an NFL running back to get me those 5.
Yeah.
So that is your job. That's your purpose. That's what we pay you for. Get out there and get me them tough yards. Offensive line, you're big nasties for a reason. Push them into the end zone. Get me that touchdown.
And I don't know what it was that happened with Josh Jacobs, but he woke up in those last 3-4 games of the year, and he was really starting to take over. Like, for example, if you go back and look at the Chargers game, look what happened as soon as the Raiders got possession of the ball and they went down to score so they could take that lead. Jacobs had no issues moving the ball against that defensive line.
None. Running straight through him. And it was a beautiful thing to see because that took me back to his rookie year when it's like, all right, this dude is legit over here. He's over here dropping hats on fools. He's running through. He's hitting the hole. This is everything that I could have asked for out of an Alabama back. I would have liked for probably about 0.2 of a second off of his 40 time, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
So that will be his ultimate unraveling and undoing is the fact that he is slow.
Yeah, look, I don't care if he's the fastest back or not.
Got to get to the end zone.
He could get those yards, and he could definitely get the touchdown.
We got to get to the end zone. He not get, bruh. Hold on, bro. Now let's call a spade a spade.
All right, I'm about to bring up one play here in a second, but go ahead.
Said that man is not scoring from 35 plus out.
This is why I disagree. And why I think he could do it. Do a quick rewind and go back to the Green Bay Packers game, right? Did you see that huge run that he ripped off? It was pretty much like start a game against the Packers at Lambeau. Go back to that big run that he had against the Packers right off the gate, right off the rip. He could get there, man. He could get there. It's just, it's not going to be easy, but he could rip off the long runs. He could definitely rip them off. He's capable. He's capable of doing it.
Because he had how many, probably 3-4 runs of 20 plus in the last 4 weeks of the season. Previously up to that point, he had 2, maybe 3 runs of that length the year before. Said he hadn't had a rushing touchdown over 20 yards in the last 2 years.
Yeah, it's a little rough. It was a little rough. I think he could do it.
I'd like to see him do it. I need him to be able to do it. But when I've seen Kenyon Drake hit the hole, I know that Kenyon Drake can do it.
Well, yeah, he's got the speed, definitely. But like I said, if you go back and pull up that run that Jacobs had against Green Bay, that was so ridiculous. I seen that, and I was up there. I was up at Lambeau Field. Just, man, I stood up out of my seat, man, and I got hyped. I was like one of Josh Jacobs' best fucking runs ever. Right there was that fucking handoff over at Lambeau Field, pretty much at the start of the game. I can't remember if it was the first play or, dude, it was the first drive. I put it to you that way. It was on the first drive.
Right. No, he was balling back then, but until we need to keep that going. And his biggest issue has been staying healthy. Yeah, he hasn't played 16 games yet, and at this point, I don't think he can. I just don't think that his running style is conducive to him staying healthy and getting a major workload, which is why I know that they're gonna go running back by committee and play the hot hand this season.
Yeah, I don't disagree with any of that right there.
Said, what's truly frightening is the only thing that you see about Phil is his big old catfish lips over here. He just frozen in time. Big old button nose. This old Black Frosty over here.
Joe's on a mission. He about to go stick somebody up real quick, bro. He's
You know
like,
what I'm saying? Joe's got the he bet he fucked around and came on with the ski mask, forgot to take it off real quick. Said, said, who's that? Forrest Whitaker out here about to pull a job. Let me just tell you, I just lost who I am. Look at her. It's not my fault. I didn't come out. You know what I'm saying?
Oh shit!
Frozen in time. I'm not even taking this one out. I'm gonna leave it up there. I want to see this. How he's gonna pull his twofer off. Biggie Small slip. It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine.
Pepper have a D in the limousine.
Dang. He said, I hate my gums because they black.
Oh shit.
Said Out of Pocket. That actually used to be the name of the website.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
And he's gone.
Dang. Yeah, I guess he's having technical difficulties.
I roasted him too tough. I'm sorry. You know, you guys are some real cyber bullies over here talking about gums like that. He can't help that his gums is that black.
Oh shit.
It was wrong. It was wrong. They didn't have to do him like that.
I ain't do nothing. I got the cancer stick in and I'm minding my business. That's all I'm doing.
Said, how about those Chiefs pickups? I'm sorry for your loss. That's how I feel about that. You picked up Juju. Watch your whole team wither and die from within. One TikTok at a time.
You know, honestly though, man, as much as I want to say on paper that the Raiders have outdone the Chiefs and that they're going to be in better position to beat them, yes, it's all true on paper. But at the end of the day, you got to go out there and you got to play the downs, you got to play the game, and you got to get the win, and that's the most important thing. This paper champ shit mentality, there's no time to think about that. You know, it looks good on paper and everything else, and you know, a lot of us fans were happy with how things are going for the Raiders, right? Because I mean, shit looks totally promising. But at the end of the day, if you go back and look at the Chiefs' track record versus the Raiders, that shit still bothers me. And the Chiefs, I'm telling you right now, Andy's not going to have the Chiefs roll over and die over what happened. This guy is coming with the Waffle House extra special menu, and he's about to get shit cooking. He's about to get shit cooking.
They're going to have the
and we better be ready for it. And the Raiders better be ready for it. At the end of the day, they better be ready for it.
Absolutely, because they're going to attempt to score in the most disrespectful way possible, aren't they, Rich?
Oh, yeah, of course. Of course. What's up, Johnny? How's it going?
What's good, Rich, man? I'm just chilling, man. Just, you know, trying to live, man.
I feel it.
Doing myself no favors with this, though.
No, you're not, even though you're smoking the menthols.
Yeah, smoking the food.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be vaping if I would have had my shit charged, but I don't got my stuff charged up right now, so I had to go get a pack for this show tonight.
Ronald Jones not impressed. It's basically a punt on Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who was just too small to play. Jermaine Carter and I'll believe Stephon Gilmore's coming to KC when he actually shows up.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know what. Honestly, I don't even know what's taking Gilmore so long to sign with anybody. And the same thing with Honey Badger right now. What's taking them so long time?
Because Honey Badger wants $17 million, and Gilmore still believes that he should get paid $15 to $16 million per year.
If I'm doing anything with Gilmore, it's 11, 12. That's how I see it. The age,
10 to 12, yeah.
I'm 11, 12.
Yeah. And that's I believe the Raiders' offers were somewhere around there. I had said 10 million, but I have reason to believe it might have gone up a million or two. Not saying it did, not saying it didn't, just I have reason to believe it might have.
Yeah.
But I don't particularly think that they have to go out and sign a guy like Gilmore. Signing an old corner who's, I mean, if you move him to safety, then it has a lot of value there, and you can work him into just allowing his brain for the game to take over, and he just kind of roam free and do his own thing. But as a corner, I don't really like him in this particular division. This is not a good division for him to be in. He's older, he's slower. Yes, he is. He's relatively big, so he won't get beasted up by as many of these guys as like the other ones will, but there are going to be some issues.
What if the Chiefs try to make a surprise in this draft and move all the way up for Sauce Gardner? They got the power to do it. They got the pick.
I think they're going receiver though. I think they still got a big ass need at receiver.
They could do both. They got the capital to do both. They could do whatever the hell they wanted. They could go, if they wanted to, they could go get Sauce. They could go get Jordan Davis. They could go get they could get what is it? Josh Johnson? It's Jeremiah Johnson, I believe. Old boy from Florida State.
Yeah, they have a lot of options, man.
Yeah, they got a lot of options.
And I just think with the AFC West being loaded like it is now, it would make perfect sense for them to try to move up and to grab Sauce Gardner to begin with.
Yeah, they got to replace Charvarius Ward, and if you draft Sauce, that would definitely allow you to not save money on Gilmore.
Yeah.
It would also provide you with a rookie that would be capable of handling the firepower in this division for an awfully long time. It's a frightening perspective that an offense with the capabilities of the Chiefs would be able to add the type of premium talent that they will be able to add if they so choose.
Yep. And that's why I'm not in this celebration mode. I got my game face on and I'm serious. I don't think the Chiefs I don't think the Chiefs with no Tyreek Hill, I don't think it's going to kill them. I think they're going to figure it out and they're going to come back, swinging for the fences.
I don't think the Raiders are done yet either. In fact, when I talked to Levi Edwards yesterday, he intimated as much as well, that they perhaps may not be done, that perhaps maybe they're playing possum and just sitting around waiting for June 1st, June 2nd, so that they can have that extra $19 million to play with and work something out for another person whom they need to fill out the roster. Because June 1st, June 2nd is still prior to training camp. And so they will have had an opportunity to go into OTAs, mini camp, and all that other good stuff and have a look at this roster, look at who moves well, who doesn't move well, who can stay and who needs to go.
Either which way it goes, this year, I like where the Raiders are at right now. And hopefully in this draft coming up, hopefully they hit us with a surprise or two and they're able to move back up, considering they don't got their first round or the second round anymore. Maybe the mob boss Dave Ziegler, he's gonna come up with something to get it back in round 1 or even round 2.
I think 2 would be the better option. I think you're gonna have to give up too much of stuff that you already don't have, or too much of your of some lock solid talent in order to get up to number 1, up to the first round. I just don't think the trade off will be worth it for them at this point, unless of course they manage to absolutely fleece somebody, which at this point I wouldn't even rule that out either. Getting Devontae Adams for a 1 and a 2 was masterful.
Mm-hmm.
Especially Xavier was mad about giving up the 2.
I bet he was.
He was.
I bet he was
mad about giving up the 2. But hey, I got one for you. The Kansas City Chiefs picking up fucking Drake London would be fucking stupid. There'd be 2 big ass motherfuckers out there rebounding, catching the fucking balls, boxing out. It would be fucking ridiculous. You'd have him and Kelsey. I mean, gotta watch out. I mean, I hope that doesn't fucking happen, dude. It's gonna be fucking ridiculous. The things they could fucking do.
Throw that 50-50 ball, no problem.
Yeah.
It definitely could be. It definitely could be. Is Drake London going to be fast enough for Andy Reid, though? He likes his big receivers. He likes them to be faster.
Yeah,
he figured out. He's what, a 4.4 guy?
4.5, 4.6, I believe.
Okay. All right. Coming off a torn Achilles, torn ACL, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he could probably get a little faster.
I mean, hell, Cooper Kupp's not even a 4.4 guy.
No, he's not.
Nope. He just catches everything. Runs great routes.
Yeah, yeah, his route running is ridiculous. He can catch. He's sure-handed. And on top of that, he's smart, too. Because, I mean, I remember him talking about he was talking to one of the ladies real quick, and she was interviewing him, and he broke down what the defense was doing and why he was able to get open. I can't remember what coverage he called, but he called the coverage and everything else and knew where to go at.
Right.
And was able to do that damage. So he real smart, savvy route runner. Somebody I wanted the Raiders to draft years ago, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, right.
Bingo.
I just pray the Chiefs say, yeah, you definitely don't want that.
And that's the crazy thing. Andy could get one of them.
Can get both of them.
If he wanted to do both, he could do both.
Yeah, can go out and get whatever he wants.
A straight shot.
Premium pick. Yeah.
In the
AFC. I just don't. I hope I'm wrong, but it's just my gut feeling, dude. I just feel like they're gonna go for. I feel like they're gonna go for Sauce Gardner. Like, no doubt about it. I think Sauce is gonna be their main play, and then they'll go ahead and get their receiver however they see fit. That's just what I believe.
I could see that. That would make a lot of sense. How many wins is it going to take to win our division? At least 12. Probably 13, maybe 14.
I don't know. If it's honestly, if it's brutal, if the division is going to be brutal like we're expecting it to be, then I don't think it's going to take 12, 13 wins to win that division. I think it could be less. A little less. Because I don't think between us, the Chiefs, and the Chargers, this is going to be a tight race. And I don't think nobody's going to win that division clear cut. I don't think there's going to be a clear cut winner. You got six divisional games for the year, right? 6 with our divisional rivals, right? 2 for the Chiefs, 2 matches with the Chargers, 2 with the Broncos. Yeah, 6.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't think it's going to take 12-13 to win that division. I think it could be a little less.
So the Chiefs won
it.
it.
End up being like that. Oh, it may end up being like that because the division beating up on itself. You mean it just
exactly. I'm
itself.
expecting that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's the direction I'm leaning towards right now.
Oh,
I think it's going to be a bloodbath. They're going to be beating the shit out of each other.
Hell yeah, especially San Diego will be pretty good. Fucking what, the beginning of the year?
San Diego's not a team.
San Diego Chargers.
Yeah, that's not a team. So the Chiefs lost one division game last year, and then the Chargers took them to overtime again. And they still won 12 games. So if this division does become a bloodbath, let's say they just split it. Everybody goes 3-3. At that point, then I'd say they still need probably about the 12-13 mark. 14 might be a little bit lofty, especially given the fact that this division as a whole seems to be much improved, and the gap is definitely closed up to this point.
Yeah, true.
Because even no matter what, whether they go out and they draft every rookie in the history of ever, that rookie still got to come in and prove that he can play at this level.
Yeah. Yeah, 12-13 could be right, but like I said, I just think it's going to be so. I think it's going to be so ugly with the division. There's going to be a lot going on to where I think it's going to be okay. It could very well be, let's say, 11-12 to win the division, maybe this time. This time around, 11-12.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, it could happen. I still would like to see. I would like to see them win the division with at least 12-13 wins. I want to see a strong division winner, not one that took the bumps and the lumps and ends up leaving out walking wounded. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean.
So that's how I feel about that. No matter who they get, Max Crosby and Chandler Jones are going to be smashing them, and Devontae Adams going to be scoring TDs. Let's hope that way.
Yeah.
Let's hope for that. Nerfed Hacks, 11 wins will win this division. Book it. I hope so. I hope 11 wins will win it, and we get a 2-game improvement to 12-5.
And then hit me up for some Warzone later too, Nino.
Right on. Let's see. Denver has an easy schedule. I think the Chiefs will take a chance on Jameson Williams later. They could.
Yeah.
So what positions are we looking to draft? Looking to address that defensive line, probably looking to add another safety, maybe another corner. You can take some flyers on a wide receiver, or you could look at drafting a QB, because the guys that they brought in to be the backup QBs for Carr terrify me, to be honest with you.
What about right tackle?
They signed Brandon Parker to a starting deal.
So would you take Brandon Parker over Marcus Kennard?
No. Well, yes, only for I draft Marcus Kennard anyway, but only because you don't know what you're going to get out of Brandon Parker long term.
Yeah.
you're definitely going to need to have another option at that position because Brandon Parker previously was your swing tackle. Now, where it gets interesting is what they choose to do with Illuminor, what they choose to do with Parker. Where is Leatherwood ultimately going to end up if they move him to the left side? I believe that's where he should go. If he could play, if somehow by some grace of God they could get his footwork together and get him set up to be the right tackle, then we'd be playing with house money. I don't necessarily believe that to be true. I think he's going to end up being a guard, and if he's going to be a guard, I'd rather see him on the left side next to Colton Miller, where he feels comfortable and it's most natural at. I thought that Daryl Williams had signed. I might be wrong. I might be wrong. But all right, fellas, we have reached the hour mark, which means the After Dark episode 13 has come to an end. Everybody brace yourselves as we turn over and get set for the members only show. Be back up live in probably about 5-10 minutes. I'll send you guys the link and we can get this party rolling. Till then, so we out.
暁は集った。